non-Arab, nor does the non-Arab have superiority over an Arab. White has no superiority over black, nor does a black have superiority over white. And the superiority over another except by piety and good action. You have listened, you have seen a lot of superiority. So in this sayings of the Prophet, peace be upon him, because the source is that. The source of hatred is the feeling of superiority. That produces jealousy, that produces hatred. And once they accept that we are equal by the eye of God, most of the problems of us will be solved, hopefully. So the next one, please. So if Islam, I have heard this a lot, and I have received a lot of questions on that in many conferences, panels that I have been speaking for maybe 10 years. If Islam is not teaching hatred and violence, then what? Then why? Then what is going on? I mean, all these questions, what we are seeing right now, what's going on? And you are demonstrating us, and I mean, aren't the people reading the same Quran? Aren't the people reading the same message that we are? Yes, they are, with a different. When I say education as a solution, and my education means, as a matter of fact, I'm referring to intrafaith, not interfaith. Intrafaith is the, how can I say, the education circle inside a tradition, among Muslims, among Christians, not Muslim Christian, because we need to educate as Muslims, and I accept that blame. We have a lot to do. That means I, as a Muslim, did not really do my job by educating people, because I have received also theology degree, Kulliyat Sharia. And some people are so educated, as Father said, they have received the same thing, but we are understanding the same verse differently. And same thing also in the Christian world, same thing also in the Judaic tradition. So that means, as a matter of fact, we have one problem today. The fight that is going on is, as a matter of fact, between the extremists of all traditions and non-extremists of all non-traditions. And we have to actually define the problem. And the extremists of all traditions, doesn't matter, they have the same mentality. If you go what happened in 9/11, or what happened in Europe recently and killing 70 people, or whatever is happening around the world, you will see the same hatred, same source of hatred, of the understanding of superiority. Why? They don't even deserve to exist for him. That's why. And I again said I honestly, openly accept the blame here, and we as Muslims should have done better to educate our own people. And we need intrafaith, besides interfaith, intrafaith. And I can openly tell you there are a lot of Muslim brothers around us that I feel more comfortable with non-Muslims sitting and talking about the same issue. And I'm sure it is the same issue with the Catholic tradition or among Jews. And I have tradition for example, I'm visiting a lot of people from different traditions. When I say, can we go to visit, for example, Rabbi something? No, he said. Or can I see the Reverend? No, we can never be with them. So and sometimes they are surprised and they ask us, how the heck have you brought us all together in one program? That's something that we are receiving a lot. So interfaith needed everywhere, because all of us, we have our extremes, and all of us, we have to take care of our own extremes. Growing economical gap among nations, Father and especially Reverend Rabbi, could not be a problem, might be a problem, because there are people who think, even though they are not rich by themselves, but it is a cause for them. They are using it as a reason, as they use Bible as a reason for their cause, as they use any religion or Quran as a reasoning for the evil things. I haven't heard a terrorist in the world that they call themselves a terrorist. Either freedom fighter or martyr or whatever you want, but nobody calls themselves a terrorist. They need a good label. That's why they grab Quran, they grab Bible, and they grab Jesus. So they need a good excuse for that. And history, and our history, we have to be very careful. When talking about education, we are still continuing to teach and I admit that also, in the Middle East. When it comes to Christianity, Christians with a barbaric understanding came to our countries and killed this and that. If you say Christian, oh, you have a monster image. If you go to Europe and other Christian countries, if you say Muslim and Ottoman Empire, all these, you have this monstrous image. Isn't that right? I mean, I know it hurts, but it is a reality. In some Muslim countries, and if you go and look back to the history that is taught in the schools about Jews, unfortunately, that's the reality. That means we are actually raising monsters. It depends what you educate. Education is important, but it depends what you teach. So therefore, we have, when teaching the history, Islam doesn't put responsible anyone for other ones. Islam doesn't blame anyone for someone else's fault. That's reality. And for example, I mean, there are a lot of verses, and we call it the crime or hate verses, sort of called in Quran. They say about Jews, yes, there are, but we have to sit down and understand this, what it really means. Yes, there are verses in Bible that says kill children and women, but do we need to understand this literally? If you look at the mission of Jesus and the verses, it doesn't fit, it doesn't make sense. But the same Quran says marry a Jew and marry a Christian. So how are they going to make sense? So all of them are explained properly with a proper education, but we need to sit down first, educate. I definitely agree with Reverend Father over here. Definitely we need to educate our congregation first, and interfaith starts with interfaith. Definitely I would like to, and when it comes to history, again, history sometimes provides hatred, but not the right history. Two guys from United States, one Jewish, one, another story for you, one Jewish, another Christian, they go to Spain. While visiting there, they learned that the Christian over there expelled Jews and Muslims, and he turns, the Jewish one turns to the Christian one. He said, "Why did you do that?" He said, "I didn't do it." And he said, it was 500 years ago, and he slaps him. "I don't care, I just heard." So that's what's happening, as a matter of fact. And our generation are just hearing things. Oh my God, I thought my friend Joshua, or whoever Jewish friend he has, he was my friend, but I didn't know he was my 500-year-long enemy. I didn't know that. So we are basically teaching them. So we have to find a way to teach properly without prompting a hatred our children. That's what I meant by history and hatred. What do we do, parts? Education, and I think I talked about it. I'm not going to go back and talk about it. First-hand information. What we know about the other in today's world, and I think all of you will agree with me on that, is through media. And when you go to the Middle East and listen to the media, it is very obvious what it says about the Judaic tradition, about Israel, about the Jews. It pumps like an oil, hatred. You can feel that. And we are hearing, we are in the United States, and we are hearing Islamic terrorist, Islam terrorist, all the time. And we need to change that. And also, it's whenever you go. So we have to have a first-hand information. That's why these kind of gatherings are important. And when I say gatherings, I don't really mean just coming together and me speaking, you listening. This is not actually what I mean. We should go beyond that. We don't have to talk anti-Semitism, but invite a Jew to your friend and have a wonderful dinner. Introduce your family, your children with him. Share what you have. Show him that you're a human like him or her. That's that. When I say dialogue, that's actually what I mean. Go golfing with them, go swimming, and do some activities with them. And if you have to do, I think that this is the most effective things. We have common problems around the world, and ignorance is one of them, and hunger is one of them. And work together in a project with the different faith communities. And as a matter of fact, aren't we sick and tired of just talking about things? And in many cases, we say, the Barney dialogue is over. I love you, you love me, we are a happy family. We know that. We have learned that. I call this a Barney dialogue. So it is time for us to organize things together, do things together. While doing things together, we will already recognize each other, know each other, and love each other. That's another thing, I guess. That's what I meant by first-hand information. And no one can, I know Lucinda very well, no matter what, and I know Father Madam very well. No matter what people say about Catholics, about Christians, I know him. I don't even care. I only say, yes, they are lying, because I have a first-hand information. That's what we need to do, and that's what we need to encourage our people to do. And in the future, maybe I have a very good family projects. Hopefully, that's the most important thing. Family matching problems. I'll give you 50 families from Muslim community. You give me 50 families from Christian community. Let's match it. Let's have them be friends, be neighbors. And there is no messenger, by the way, when talking about all these obstacles, difficulties. We don't know any messenger or faith figure who did not become a target of hatred. If there is a Moses, there is Pharaoh. If there is Jesus, there is someone behind. If there is a Muhammad, and there is always Abu Jahl against him. That's normal. That's how it has been worked from the creation of the time. But as good people, we have to do our work. We have to do our mission. We have to lit a light. And I gave the definition of darkness in the last meeting, and I will continue to do it. It's Einstein's definition that darkness cannot exist by itself. Darkness is the absence of light. So if you lit your light, the darkness will go automatically. So if we do our work, God will do the rest. Aren't we a believer? What God asks from Moses is put his stick on the ground and he will open up the ocean. That's his job. The big job is going to be done by God. As faith people, we believe in that. I really believe in that. But we need to do our part. And we need to observe God, how he is treating us in this world, and make it use it as a sample and treat everyone like that. God is giving water for believer, unbeliever, for good, for bad, everyone. So we have to treat everyone equally also, because God is, there is another story, but I'm way out of my time. And please lead the light to overcome darkness, do our part. And our inspiration, Mr. Fethullah Gülen, let me finish my work. Once people come to him from Africa, when he was in Turkey, and ask him, what do you think about racism? And he says, I'm sorry, I'm colorblind. We should be colorblind when it comes to all racisms. And he says, be so tolerant that your heart becomes white, like the ocean. Become inspired with faith and love for others. Offer a hand to those in trouble and become concerned about everywhere. Applaud the good for their goodness. Appreciate those who have believing hearts and be kind to believers. Approach unbelievers, whatever your tradition is. I'm an unbeliever for some, and someone is unbeliever for some. Approach unbelievers so gently that their envy and hatred melt away like a Messiah. Revive people with your breath. The most distinctive feature of a soul overflowing with faith is to love all types of love that are expressed in deeds, to feel enmity for all deeds in which enmity is expressed, to hate everything is a sign of insanity or infatuation with Satan. Thank you very much. I'm way over my time. And lastly, I have an announcement before we go to Q&A session. Our next program is on 29th of March. And as you know, March 8th is what day? Women's Day, International Women's Day. It's also my birthday. And I like to say that the women are celebrating my birthday, so that's... And it's also my birthday, the status of woman in Abrahamic traditions. And we will have wonderful speakers, and all of them are going to be women. So I'm hoping to have you here, and we will try to make a good, realistic program, hopefully, on March 29th. And we will be more than happy to see you here the same day. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so wonderful talk. Now we came to the Q&A session, but I would like Ibrahim to stand with me. I don't know